Lay out the welcome mat, roll out the red carpet, because here they come.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Culkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC your first listen every day. Whether you're watching this show on YouTube or wherever you want to download your podcast, always remember this show is free and never forget how much I appreciate your support. This episode is brought to you by Nissan. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Check them all out today at nissanusa.com. Before we celebrate the men winning their fourth game in a row when they beat the Washington Huskies 80-74 in round one of the Pac-12 tourney, I want to get into some football recruiting news. I'm going to get that out of the way first. Look, the commitment count, it still stands at 1. Juju Lewis, quarterback of the future. USC has its quarterback, class of 2025. They didn't take one in 2024. So, look, you got class of 1 right now, Juju. But that doesn't mean the recruits aren't coming. The sign-up sheet for the unofficial and official visits, that list is getting longer and longer and longer. I've been keeping you up to date throughout the offseason, but for this episode, this segment, I want to bring you up to date with some more guys that are going to be checking out USC. It's spring break, and a lot of kids, they're taking trips. You know, the guys who want to focus on their future instead of doing the normal spring break rituals, you know, heading off to the beach, hanging out with their ladies, whatever. No, they're focusing on their future. Here are some names of guys from the state of Texas. I was going to say from across the country, but the 4 guys I'm going to go over right now, they're all from the state of Texas. This first young man, Denton, Texas, Geyer High School, 6'3", 290 pounds, defensive lineman. His name is Xavier Ukponu. He's set to be one of the top ranked prospects in the state of Texas, class of 2025. And when I'm publishing this episode of Locked On USC, he had already visited LSU back on March 8th, and he took a visit to Cal Berkeley March 12th. However, Xavier has some visits lined up with Oregon March 14th. He's coming to USC March 16th, and then he's going to head out to Kansas on March 23rd, Texas A&M March 30th, and then he's actually going to go to the University of Texas twice, April 6th and 20th. That's their spring game, when USC's is also on April 20th. However, it's because of the addition of Eric Henderson and Lincoln Riley, Eric Henderson to Lincoln Riley's staff, and that's what's kind of moved USC up a little bit. He told WRSC why USC is now a priority to visit during the offseason. Quote, just the D-line communication with the D-line coaches is truly great down there. Just from talking to them, we developed a good relationship. And they said they want me down there because I'm a priority for them. Coach Henney's a big reason I'm visiting, because obviously you want to be coached by someone who's coached in the NFL, and he coached a future Hall of Famer, Aaron Donald. Coach Sean Nua is a high-energy guy, and with Coach Eric Henderson, I feel like it's 2 different personalities. Have a great relationship with the coaches, and I've always loved the idea of that school. I've been texting with Coach Henney, and he's excited to have me down there and show me what SC is all about, close quote. I think we should just say California is the new Texas, or Texas is the new California. This past recruiting cycle, USC signed, 4 players from the state of Texas? Braylon Connolly, cornerback. You had defensive tackle Carlon Jones, offensive line Makai Sena, and running back Brian Jackson. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And if USC needs wide receivers, why not Texas? They put out some pretty good footballers, not just athletes, guys who are passionate and love football. There are three wide receivers that USC wants really, really, really badly in their 2025 class. First, I'm going to start with four-star wide receiver Emmanuel Choice. He's from Lancaster, Texas. After a recent update with On3, Choice is now the number 39 rated wide receiver in the country, and he's a top target for Lincoln Riley and for Coach Dennis Simmons, the wide receiver coach. He's 6'4", 190 pounds, and his recruitment has really heated up these last few months. I mentioned USC, obviously, but you've got Texas, you've got Oklahoma, you've got Nebraska, Tennessee, Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss. And you've got to love this description of the rising star. He's long, already somewhat thick, and his hands inhale footballs. Okay, if I'm a wide receiver, I want to be known as a vacuum. That's a really good description. And after making visits to both Texas and Oklahoma last month, On3 is reporting that Choice has 4 more trips that he's already planned for the spring and summer. Choice is going to be making an official visit to USC on May 30th through June 2nd. So USC made, I guess we'll call it the cut. And when he was at the Dallas Under Armour camp, I think that was last week, he said he wants to take an official visit to USC because just the relationship I had with the coaches and just talking with them continuously since coming to see me, I just feel comfortable, and I have to go check that place out. I've never been out there, but I'm familiar with the coaches, their background, their history, and what they have done. Now, again, even though he's just a 3-star, who cares? This is what his offer list is. Remember, when Texas and Oklahoma and Texas A&M, when they want you and you're from that area, you're the man, right? It's that simple. Those are the teams you want recruiting you when you're from Texas. Now, this next name, it's going to sound a little bit familiar, but there's no relationship here. None whatsoever. The last name McCutcheon is football royalty, right? Some of you are old enough to remember his dad, the father, Lawrence McCutcheon. He played running back with the LA Rams in the 70s and 80s. Lawrence's kid played defensive back at USC. He then later on became a star in the NFL. His name was Dalen McCutcheon. Well, this particular Dalen McCutcheon, again, no relationship. He is a top 100 wide receiver, and he unofficially visited USC last month, February. He came out to Southern California for a 7-on-7 event. And he already has some visits set up. He's going to go check out Texas, March 22nd through the 23rd, Ohio State, March 31st through April 2nd. USC is coming back out April 5th through the 7th. And then Florida State and Stanford are also in the mix. Pardon me. After he announced those visits, he trimmed his school list down to 8. So his cut, the top 8 schools: USC, Ohio State, Florida State, Texas, SMU, Stanford, and Tennessee. What's interesting, you got some really big academic schools mixed in there: USC, Stanford, SMU. So academics are definitely high on his priority list. The 2 schools right now that appear to be standing out for Dalen McCutcheon are Florida State and USC. And he shared why. He's coming back in April for an unofficial visit, and ultimately for an official visit June 7th through the 9th. That June date is huge because that's usually when USC scores a lot of verbal commitments. If you remember last year, hand over fist, they were scooping them up in June. This is what he said: "They have always been a school I wanted to go to since I was young, and especially with Coach Lincoln Riley and Coach Dennis Simmons, it makes it even better considering them being coaches at Oklahoma. I love how Coach Simmons coaches up his wide receivers, and even did that to me when I went on a visit to USC. I love how small the campus is, and it's almost like it's isolated. USC. It really shocked me at first that it was a gated school. I didn't realize it was a private school. I thought it was a big school, but it was really it was a private school. I really enjoyed that because I know that I'll have my own little area to focus on in football and my schoolwork. So me going to USC for the first visit, it was really a shocker, and I really liked it. Now, I know a lot of you out there have some preconceived notions about USC. Just know the campus itself isn't really big. They got a lot of buildings packed into a small area, and that village, the University Village, it really stands out. It's really cool. But there's one more wide receiver from the state of Texas that I need to mention real quick, and he has his trip lined up as well. Keep in mind, Dennis Simmons and Luke Heward, USC's wide receiver coaches, they can pick and choose who they want because they can. USC is wide receiver U. Andrew Marsh is one of the top guys on their picky list. And WeAreSC.com had an opportunity to speak with the five-star wide receiver last June when he took a visit, unofficially, on his own dime. And at that time, Andrew Marsh and his mom said they would be back for another visit. What's not to like, Marsh said. Great visit, coaches, and atmosphere. To top it off, I got a chance to experience it with my family. I like the whole vibe with my family. I got hanging out with the coaches and their families. My mom and sisters said they were very welcoming to them. Plus, my nieces had fun with their kids. On Friday, we had a chance to see the campus. I was very surprised with everything. It was so close and in its own village. Sitting with the coaches and discussing plays was good. Then we met with Coach Riley, and he was so easy to talk to. We laughed a lot, and we talked about sports, of course. So yes, it was a very good visit. I will be back. Well, here's the latest update with Marsh. He set his official visit date for that June 7th through 9th. Like I said, those June Beach Bash visit weekends, legendary. He said, they're showing me they really want me, and they're willing to put in the effort to get me there. I think he's talking about NIL. They always have great quarterbacks coming in, for sure, so that's a really great thing to have in their pocket. Now, I mentioned that NIL part for a reason. USC knows in this recruiting cycle, if they want to get the elite five-star guys, there are certain players that you're going to have to entice with NIL packages. That's not what he's all about, but you want the elite guy, you're going to have to throw it out there. Let them know that you can be competitive. So on his last visit last June with Lincoln Riley, along with his mom, I got to know him really well and learn a lot about him, how he coaches, and his style. I really like how it's family-oriented over there. Family is huge for me, and at the end of the day, it's what I fall back on. Those are my people. So for him to take his time to make sure he's good and everyone else is good, to take that family approach, that says something. That's a big priority for them, and they really want me there, close quote. Again, I want to emphasize before we close out the segment, Andrew Marsh has visited USC 3 or 4 times already. The official visit will be number 5? It's looking good for USC. This week's March Madness bracket highlight is brought to you by our friends at Nissan. Each week, we're picking one team that stands out, a team that's pushed it further than the rest, just like any and all of the new 2024 Nissan SUVs. These guys were able to take it to the next level. The Utah State Aggies are obviously this week's Nissan Rogue. They punched their ticket with their team win, and they absolutely surprised all of us with a powerful performance against New Mexico, giving them their first outright Mountain West title in program history. They say, win life, go Rogue. And that's exactly what the Aggies have done. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop nissanusa.com. Hey, everyone. Mark your... Hey everyone, I need you to mark your calendar for the Locked On College Basketball Breakdown show that's going to be appearing this March 18th at 7 a.m. Eastern. Experts Andy Patton and Isaac Shade will break down their brackets and discuss everything that you need to know to fill out a winning bracket and prepare for this year's NCAA tournament. Find the Locked On Bracket Breakdown on Monday, March 18th on the Locked On College Basketball Podcast, wherever you get your podcast. All right, we're going to recap USC's Pac-12 Tourney Day 1 right now. Let me first start out by saying, I hate this team for dangling the carrot. I don't hate them, literally. I love this team. I just hate what they've been putting me and the rest of the fans through. This was supposed to be the team this year. They were built to go deep into the tourney. And they might, if they can beat Arizona again. They beat Washington 80-74 in round 1 of the Pac-12 tournament. They've now won 4 in a row for the first time all season. They beat Washington for the 9th straight time. And let's just be honest, they own the Huskies at this point. Washington, they were playing with a lame duck head coach. Their head coach, Mike Hopkins, and the team. They found out, they knew before going into the game that he wasn't coming back. That's a really tough thing to deal with. But it was a good game. I mean, it was competitive throughout. They battled. Here's why USC won. Boogie Ellis led the team. He had 25 points. Kobe Johnson, 14 points, 8 rebounds. Isaiah Collier, 13 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. Bronny James, check this out, 7 points, 5 rebounds. DJ Rodman, 7 points, 4 rebounds. Joshua Morgan, Vince Iwuchukwu, your big guys in the center. Combined 40 minutes. Combined 14 points, 2 rebounds. One of the reasons why I have this love-hate relationship with this specific team, it's because, as Coach Henfield said, he has the worst group of big men when it comes to rebounding. I mean, think about it. Let me check out this stat. USC had 33 as a team. Joshua Morgan and Vince Iwuchukwu, 2 7-footers, had 2 rebounds combined. That's not going to get it done, guys. Now, Josh Morgan had a really good, strong game. Defensively, he always brings it. And he's starting to bring a little bit more nasty, starting to attack the rim a little bit harder. Although USC as a team missed, I think they were like 1 for 6 at the layup line in the first half. Yikes. Look, the other night when USC beat Arizona, they played defense. They held the Wildcats to 65 points. That was their lowest output all year. Caleb Love, Arizona's leading scorer, he was 1 for 10 from the field in that game. In this game that USC beat Washington, they held Washington's leading scorer, Keon Brooks. In the second half, he had 2 points. He was 0 for 9 from the field. That's the type of defensive energy USC needs to have that they hadn't had all year. USC, look, they don't play defense. It's that simple. I don't know. Maybe NIL doesn't appreciate defense. It likes offensive stats more. I can't put my finger on this team, but whatever it is, they're pulling themselves through. Now they're going to face Arizona. They're going to face them noon today. If you're watching this episode of Locked On USC, T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas. I'm going to say it again. USC has all the pieces. Can they do a repeat job on Caleb Love again? Or is that dude just going to come out with his hair on fire? Great players. It's hard to hold them down 2 games in a row. So what's the deal with this team? Can they win 3 more? Because that's what it's going to take. There's a lot of basketball to be played in the next 4 days. High-intensity basketball. But as Coach Enfield said, they're healthy. Look, they've got a lottery pick at point guard, Isaiah Collier. They have a really good shooter from deep. Well, he's inconsistent, but he's He's Boogie Ellis. He's got unlimited range. Again, 25 points. He was, I think, 5 for 10 from three-point range in this game. 50% will get it done. They have one of the best rim protectors to ever play at USC, Joshua Morgan. He starts mostly, but DJ Rodman is a sixth man type. He gives you that type of production. Kobe Johnson is a lottery pick. If he played like a lottery pick, Kobe loves to play defense, but he also, and I know this is going to come off the wrong way, he likes himself too much. If Kobe Johnson focused and was on basketball, and when I say focus, I mean not make those mistakes that he makes every game. When he tries to do too much, gets outside of himself, he could be a really, really, really good player. If USC can get by Arizona again, USC has a chance to go deep, maybe even get to the Pac-12 tournament championship game. If they beat Arizona again, they're going to take on the winner of the UCLA-Oregon game Friday at 5 p.m. Wouldn't that be interesting, right? USC beats UCLA, puts that program season out of their misery. The only team from LA that's had a worse year in basketball than USC, the basketball school, UCLA. Now, if USC can beat UCLA, it would give them a 2-game winning streak over the Bruins. It would also mean USC extended their own winning streak to 6 games. Remember, they now reach 4. They beat Arizona. That's a 5-game winning streak. You beat UCLA in the semifinals. That's 6 games. And that would actually level their record. They would now be 17-17. And they would be 1 game away from slipping on Cinderella's slipper. But again, this is why this team just loves to dangle that carrot. They have all the right pieces. They get to the conference championship final. USC fans are going to be right back on the bandwagon. And here's how it's going to play out. If they get there, the game will come down to the wire. And then just like that, it's going to happen. I can feel it just because it's the way the season's been playing out. USC is going to lose with one of those James Forrest type of moments. If you're a USC basketball fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So close, yet so far away. Do you know what I like about Fire TV? You can turn on your smart TV and it's already there. Or you can plug in the Fire Stick into the back of your TV and you're fired up, ready to go. Easy peasy. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Whether it's the opening weekend for baseball or the college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. And did you know that Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free? And that include all of us at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels let you dive into all the game analysis, highlights, and more. And that's going to keep you up to date on all the latest in the world of sports. March Madness, NBA, Major League Baseball, and a lot more. Check out the Fire TV channels on Fire TV and your Alexa device. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me. To learn more, visit www.amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're in the speed, power, style, eBay Motors has got you covered. And with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay. Guaranteed fit. Only available to U.S. customers. All right. We want to talk about the USC wide receivers. I've gone over the depth chart. I'm going to go over it again for you real quickly here. But because of that depth chart, there are a lot more questions than answers. Here you go. Let me replay it for those of you who missed the episode. But here you go. On the outside, the X wide receiver depth chart: Kyron Ware-Hudson, Deuce Robinson, Jaden Moore. The H inside spot: Mekhi Lemon. At the Y inside slot, Zachariah Branch. Those two spots right there highlight perfectly why USC's wide receiver numbers are way too low. Backing those two positions up during spring camp, you're going to have walk-ons Josiah Zamora and Corey Norris. And then your other outside wide receiver spot, the Z spot, Jacoby Lane, Jaden Richardson, and true freshman Xavier Jordan. I feel pretty good, confident saying Jordan's probably going to cross-train at those slot positions as well. Now, with that, go ahead, find me four starters anywhere in the country. I'll wait. In other words, USC likes to roll 4 wide receiver sets out there. Find me a better starting 4. You're not going to find it. Zachariah Branch, Deuce Robinson, Mekhi Lemon, Jacoby Lane, and hey, we're probably not even giving Kyron Ware-Hudson enough credit right now. The winter conditioning depth chart told us who and where. Okay. What it didn't tell us, or what it didn't answer, was any of the following questions. My everydayers have heard me say that USC does not have enough wide receivers for Lincoln Riley's system. I mean, they barely have enough right now to run spring camp. Don't forget. And I know Lincoln Riley said they won't miss too much, but I have to remind everybody, Zachariah and Deuce, they're going to be splitting their time running track and hitting baseballs respectively. And also remember, USC lost far more so far than they are bringing in during the offseason. Brennan Rice, Taj Washington, we anticipated them leaving a year early for the NFL. They did. I don't think anybody was anticipating, Dorian Singer, Michael Jackson III, Mario Williams, and Rayleigh Brown, all to jump into the transfer portal. A couple of them, not all of them. I mean, that's 6 wide receivers with eligibility that left. So USC has added 2. 6 gone, added 2. You're still -4. I mentioned Xavier Jordan and I mentioned Jaden Richardson. Question: is there a number 1 wide receiver? Is probably, I guess the question is one of those guys running track, or is he hitting a baseball? Kyron Ware-Hudson is suddenly the experienced veteran in the room. Jaden Richardson, who transferred from Tufts, he's got a lot of experience, but he's still learning everybody's name. I have a second question. Which freshman from last year is going to make the jump? In other words, who wants to put the C on their jersey? Who wants to be a captain? I'm not saying they have to be, but I'm talking about taking that type of jump, that type of leadership level jump. Look, the other day on Inside the Trojan Huddle, the weekly panel show that I do, Chris Arledge, he asked us, which wide receiver will have the most receiving yards among the 4 that I mentioned? Zachariah, Deuce, Jacoby, Mekhi. I know the sweet spot for everybody is going to be Zachariah Branch. I went with Jacoby Lane. And I went with him because he's becoming a team leader this offseason. You've seen the hype videos. Check him out. He's one of the guys always making his presence known. Eric went with Juice Robinson. He likes his combo of size and speed. It's a good choice. Mekhi Lemon is another I mentioned. I compare him to Amon-Ra St. Brown. The reason why I like Jacoby, it's how sneaky he is. I want to see him on some crossing routes, doing some high pointing the ball, those type of things. And you can see the way he moves. I want to see him use his slinky skills. A slinky is a springy dude, and how he can evade defenders. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Tyler Vaughn's. Same body style, contortion specialist. Something else we have to talk about. Brendan Rice, Taj Washington, those guys understood what Travis Dye talked about, blocking. Dennis Simmons, their wide receiver coach, said the same thing of his players. They have to be able to block. And if you don't, you're not going to play. So which wide receiver is going to step up and take over and be that guy who likes blocking, like a Taj Washington or a Brendan Rice? These are just some of the things that we're going to be looking for during spring camp with the wide receiver group. Again, that depth chart that someone made available to me, just remember, use pencil. It's based off of their winter conditioning. Don't go nutso with it. It's going to change a lot between now and the end of spring camp. But I'm going to be back with another episode of Locked on USC tomorrow. I'm going to have an update. Game 2, round 2, the NCAA tournament. The Pac-12 tournament. Can USC beat Arizona? I'm also going to have a whole bunch more football stuff to talk about. So make sure you come back. Make sure you tell a friend. You like the show? I know you do. Become a subscriber. Smash that thumbs up button. Hit that bell notification. Until then, everyone, you know what to do.